In this step, we're going to be updating our text here and converting it to an actual tweet. So if we flip back to our code, the first thing we want to do is in source components, we want to create a tweet component. So with the command line, I'm going to type lore generate component tweet. I'm going to navigate into this component, and I'm going to replace the empty div with some JSX code. Right, so here's basically the structure of the tweet that we're going to be using. And I have some inline styles again. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a function called getStyles. And I'm going to have it return the styles that we're going to need for this component. And then I'm going to pull those styles into the render method. All right, so at this point, we have a tweet component created, and it has some mock data that we can use to see if it renders properly. So let's flip back to our feed component, and we're going to pull this tweet in at the top. So we're just going to require the tweet. And then if we scroll down to our render tweet method, we're going to replace this list item with a tweet, and we're going to pass in our tweet data. So here we're just going to say tweet equals tweet, and that will be an argument that we pass in. All right, so let's refresh our page and see how we look. Awesome. So now we've got our tweet sort of shell filled out, and you'll notice that it's got things like nickname, timestamp, and text, right? So now we need to replace this obviously fake data with our mock data. And to do that, we're going to go back into our tweet component, and we're going to start in prop types. So we need to declare that it takes tweet as an argument. So it has to take tweet, and we're already passing that in. And then we're going to pull in tweet down here and render. Say tweet equals this.props.tweet. And then I'm going to look for the fields in here that we can replace. So, for example, I know that timestamp, that's going to be our tweet.data.created@. So our timestamp is going to be the date the tweet was created. And then our actual quote is going to be tweet.data.text. If we save that, and we're going to refresh again, we've now replaced the fake data with our mock data, so our better fake data. But I don't really like the way that this timestamp looks, right? So the way that the timestamp comes back from the server is as this ISO timestamp, which is great for passing time all around the world and not having to worry about time zones, but it's not very human friendly. And so what we want to do is we want to create something a little easier to read. And so we want to take this and convert it to the number of days that the tweet has been created. So what we can do to help us with that is we can use a library called Moment, and it's located at momentjs.com. And Moment is a fantastic datetime library. And one of the things it can do is that if you pass it a timestamp, there's a function called fromNow, which will convert it to statements like 3 hours ago or 33 minutes ago. And that's much more the type of language we want to display in our tweet. So we're going to flip back to our code. And if you look at the package.json file, you'll notice that Moment is one of the dependencies that's included in Lore by default. So we can just use it without needing to install it right now. And to use it, we're going to scroll up to the top of our tweet, and we're going to require it. We're going to scroll back down to our render method, and we're going to create a variable called timestamp. And that is actually going to be our created that date. So we're going to replace that with our timestamp variable. And to use Moment, we just need to create, pass it into the Moment function, and it'll convert it to a Moment object, and then we can just call fromNow. And when we do that, we save our file and we refresh the page. you can see that it converted it to 2 days ago, which is a lot closer to what we want. So the last thing I want to do is I want to chop off this ago. And we can do that by using a string function called split. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the from now response, and I'm going to split that response on the statement space ago. And that's going to cut the statement into 2 pieces, and I'm going to take the first piece. And if I save that and refresh the page one more time, it chops off the ago and leaves us just with 2 days. So that is exactly what we want. In the next step, we'll be adding mock data for the user to replace the avatar and the nickname with information for the user who created the tweet.